Odd Vandermeer from Twitter wrote in to say, looks like the Model Y is going to be slightly more efficient than the Model 3.
And then some.
And any clue on how they could pull that off? Because you think a bigger CUV would be not as efficient as a passenger sedan that's smaller.
I can only tell you a few things about that. One is that I have 2 of those coming that were ordered in the first hour that the announcement was made. And if I can get both of them, I'll take them. And the other thing I can tell you is that, one, the Model 3 has the shortest amount of wire harnesses of anybody, and I think it's like 1.2 or 3 kilometers of wire. And the Y has 0.7 kilometers of wire. That's almost 50% cut in the amount of wire they got inside. I'm very anxious to get a hold of it to find out how they've done what they've done. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that they won't be doing goofy things like, hey, I got an idea, let's just make the trunk well out of aluminum where the rest of the car is steel. I don't think that's going to happen twice.
Dave Tuttle wrote in to ask, how much cheaper do you think the Chinese Model 3 will be than the U.S. one? And is that from design improvements or just cheap Chinese labor?
Cheap Chinese labor? Well, okay, I spent a lot of time in China. You were asking if I was anywhere. Well, guess what? I went to Korea, I went to Japan, I went to China, and then I went to Norway and England. And I can tell you for sure that the Chinese are catching up with labor costs like there's no tomorrow, and it's hard to find people that'll hang around for more than 6 months. It's not cheap labor. Now, I will tell you that I don't want to.
Those were my words. Those were not Dave's words. When I said cheap Chinese labor,
okay.
He just mentioned China-specific cost savings.
There are cost savings, and I'm sure they're going to take advantage of them. And I'm sure that he's not going to go and buy a whole bunch of robots that, you know, pick the car up over here and then to another robot and then another robot and then. I don't think he's going to do that twice. I don't think he liked it last time. So I think it's going to be a smaller CapEx for sure. And I also think that he's learned his lesson from the Model 3 here, and that's why I say it's not the same design. I guarantee it. So that'll be different. But as luck would have it, we sell the reports that are side by side, China versus America. I've been told not to give everything away, but it is a cheaper vehicle. It's a less costly vehicle, and I think it'll be far superior.
Yeah.
In fact, if it was up to me, I'd import that car.
So it has been designed for manufacturing in China more than it is here?
No, I think the design came from the States, but they said, well, what did we learn from the old one? Let's not do that again. So instead of having literally 18 pieces for the rear inner for the wheel well, I'm pretty sure they got 1 piece now. And then they would give it to stampers, and I'll tell you, in the old days when it was basically China cheap, I really wasn't impressed with anything that had to do with stamping or plastic injection molding. But those days are coming out of China. But those days are gone. Right. These guys have picked up a lot. It's good stuff, and it's a unbelievably low price.
We got 3 phone calls. Let's do that, and then we'll wrap up.